I'm inspired this morning by a friend of mine, a picture he sent me of breakfast toastie. So I'm going to make an eggy bread toastie. Now, my mother taught me about eggy bread, but I knew it as French toast, really nice and posh, but we British like to break it down to simple one or two syllable things, so eggy bread. But I want to make it into a toastie. And so what I've got are eggs. I've beaten together eggs with a bit of chili sauce, Maggie's chili sauce, a bit of sea salt, and a bit of soy milk. You can use ordinary milk, but this is what we use. So I've beaten that, and I've got it right here, and I've put it in not a flat dish, a dish with sides, because it's easier to dip the bread in. And what I've got also are bread that's more than a day old bread, so bread that's going a bit hard. As a family treat, I like to sometimes buy or make fresh bread like chola, but I like to buy fresh bread once a week if possible. And yesterday I had some pumpernickel bread, a day old, and shop fresh bread doesn't last very long, so I've sliced that up. I'm going to use it. And I also have over here some cheese, so I'm going to make an eggy bread cheese toastie. I've already got my pan, I've got that heating up really nicely. In fact, it's really quite hot, so there you go. I'm going to take it off while I do the basics. So what I've got here, if you can see this, I've got my egg here. So I've just dipped my toast lightly in that, and I'm letting it drain. And I'm going to put this directly in the pan. And I haven't added any oil to the pan. And my poor machine doesn't know what to do right now, but I'll be back. So I'm just going to put it in the pan, and you can hear that sizzling. I've got that in the pan. So what I did is just dip on both sides quite quickly. And then I don't want it to soak up. For my needs, I don't want it to soak up too much of the egg. But if you were making eggy bread, just for breakfast, you could let it really soak up and get soaking wet if that was all you were making. But I'm trying out a toastie here. So I've got all of that. Right now, I've put my first slice on one side in the frying pan, and just going to go over there. So there it is in the frying pan. It's been on one side. And what I'm going to do now is lay my slices of cheese on the top of this. And then the other bit that I put on, there you go, next slice, I'm putting it up, and I'm going to turn this over because the one side would have had its cooking. And I'm doing this on using a fairly hot frying pan. I'm trying to fry my egg and my bread and keep the inside soft. So I'm just going to get a plate, giving you full view of my kitchen and what's tidy and what's not. So I've turned down the heat just a little because I want it to brown up really nicely, and I want my cheese to melt because that's the purpose of this. While I'm doing that, I'm going to try one of the flatter slices. I've got my slice in, I've got my cheese on. I love cheese, so I got a lot of cheese on, and I'm putting the other bit on, and then I'm just going to let them do their business. Now, because my pumpernickel bread is quite thick, quite chunky slices, it's taking a while for the heat to get through. But with the thin bread, that's the cheese to melt really nicely. So if you remember, we had milk, soy milk in this case. We had chili sauce, Maggie's chili sauce. I have different flavors, and the different flavors will give a different flavor to what you're making. So I've used the original, which is a really nice, fierce, takes you up to a crescendo, brings you down gently sauce. It's a very savoury sauce, a very grown-up sauce is what I wanted to say. And I've got a bit of sea salt added to that too. If you want, you don't have to add salt. The other thing you could do is mix a bit of cheese, grated cheese with tuna, and add that to the middle so you have like a tuna melt. Okay, I think now that we are having lift off because my two slices are not they're stuck together. That means my cheese is melted. So I'm just going to turn this over. Now, look, I have to do this. This is what inspired me this morning. The cheese toastie I saw looked like that. That is just beautiful. But I've only done one side of it. So I'm going to get the other side going while I take out the pumpernickel bread. We'll leave that one there. And I'm going to fry the rest of the pieces without any cheese in them. And so what we've got here, folks, lovely pumpernickel French toastie. Yes? Eggy bread toastie. And if I just do some slicing and we will together see what that middle looks like. There you go. I have soft cheese, not fully melted, but soft cheese. I tell you what, I'm going to taste it for you and I. How about that? You know, when you envisage something, you picture it and then you take it out of your mind and you put it in current form. You know, you actually can taste it and feel it and touch it. That delivers all that I expect of it and more. It's not as hot as I am fancying this morning. Now look at this one. That's what we want. Melted cheese, softly melting, leaking out of your sandwich. So I'm just going to slice that one. This is supposed to be breakfast for everybody, but the way I'm going, since I might have to taste them all, I might just have to... Yeah, look at that. Look at that melted cheese goodness. Look, let's do this. Look at all of that. Melted cheese goodness. So my eggy bread cheese toasties. Hope you enjoyed that and hope you can make it for the family.